So the masking tape conclusion time, and duct tape as well. So I've got them all lined up here. I've tried them all, not intensively, but certainly I've had a few days in here, so I've got to know how they handle water. For me, this is a plasterer's perspective. This is my perspective, my opinion, obviously. So there's two duct tapes. There's the standard. It's cloth tape, technically its name. So this is the standard cheap one I get from Toolstation, and a more expensive brick tape. It is about twice the price, but if you want something that sticks to brick, say you're plastering up to a brick wall, I've not found anything better than this. Tessa do an external tape as well, this one in fact, which is also very good. But this, just to put it in perspective, I think it's £7–8 for this. This is £12, and it's not. It is good, but is it £12 good? I'm not sure. So I will be using it a bit more, but for the most part, this is my favourite. It works very well with rendering as well as internal plastering. In this particular extension that I'm doing today, there's lots of finished brickwork where plaster is going right up to it, so that's been very useful. Duct tape has its place. Cloth tape, amazing for things you don't care about sort of sticking. So floors, if you're sticking tarpaulins together, fantastic. Sticking sheets together, it's very strong, very sticky, but it does leave adhesive residue. If you stick it to a wall, funnily enough, even though it is sort of strong and sticky, it doesn't stick to the wall like this does. So be warned, if you've got a very nice, clean wall, it might, but in my experience, this doesn't stick to walls very well at all. And it's so sticky, it leaves adhesive residue if you leave it down. So if you left it on a finished wood or a window, definitely don't use it on windows or glass. It will then leave adhesive residue, which is a pain. You can get it off, it's a pain. So we forget that. Then we'll move over to the masking tape. So we've got these. I tried these two different brands. They're both the cheapest ones I found. Probably a bit cheaper, but from Toolstation. So it's Pinnacle brand, which is I think it's their own brand, or anyway, it's a very cheap brand. Then you've got a more expensive, stronger blue one. That I was really optimistic about this because it was still much cheaper than the external Tessa tape, but unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, it failed. It doesn't do well when wet, similar to masking tape. Masking tape doesn't do well when wet either. See, it's let a bit of seepage through there, a little bit. It's not too bad, but also you'll notice it's gone really crinkly. That's the moisture, so obviously to be expected when plastering a room. You get a lot of moisture. I don't know if you can see how wet that is, but that is not really something, as a plasterer for tape, that's not something you want to happen. If that was left too long, that will then end up leaving residue, I'm almost certain, and it's actually not done the job either. It's got so wet it's actually come away a little bit. So I won't be using that dark blue tape again for plastering edges. Back to masking tape and all the different types of protective. So you see here, so that has had this yellow frog tape, and that has failed in my opinion. So that has let water seepage. It hasn't stained the wood, it has protected the wood from the actual plaster, but the water has seeped through. Similarly over here as well. Whereas the brick tape, which it's like a strong duct tape, about twice the price, but it is good stuff. That stuck very nicely along here and has left a superb finish, not a spot on there. Equally, all down here, that had brick tape. Absolutely fantastic. Brick tape hasn't let anything past it. It's not protected. It's just bog standard masking tape. It's okay for very basic use, but from a plasterer's point of view, if I'm taping up to, say I'm taping up wallpaper even, in my experience, this masking tape can take the wallpaper off when you then remove it, so it can be too sticky, and because it doesn't what tends to happen, because the water seeps through, it makes it even worse. So you're effectively, every time when you plaster, obviously you're wetting around the edges, that water is seeping through the masking tape and into the paper, which is not what you want. Which brings me to my favourite, frog tape. So this is actually another green Tessa one. It's a cheaper one for internal work, and it's okay, much better than masking tape, but in my opinion, frog tape, green frog tape, won by a mile. Like it held up fantastic. Water just seemed to slide off the side. Plaster didn't stick. Sometimes plaster can dry and clump, but on the first wet trowel, you can just paint the edges down, and it seems to wipe away the plaster. So, in my opinion, frog tape is the ultimate plasterer's tape to use for all of your edges. Certainly around wood, timbers. I've not used it on glass, so I'm not sure about the stickiness on glass. So be warned on that one. But certainly my current opinion is frog tape.